Editing Emmy here. This is where I pop in and say that I would really, really appreciate it if you guys would look down in the description box for all those links that I have there. They are pertaining to 3 places in the world right now, all right? One of them being Palestine, because as of right now, Israel has started its ground invasion in the Gaza Strip, and the death toll has currently surpassed 8,500, all right? 70% of that 8,500 is women and children, all right? Second place is the Congo, all right? The Democratic Republic of the Congo is undergoing slavery, all right? Because the Democratic Republic of the Congo is one of the main producers, if not the main producers, of the mineral coltan, which is used to make technology, i.e. this iPhone that I'm filming this on currently. And because this mineral is so valuable, high Western powers and other mining companies have basically been enslaving Congolese people to mine this mineral. And because of the financial and military support from these Western powers, other countries have been sending in military groups in order to essentially enforce this mining slavery. And millions of people have already been killed, millions of people have been displaced, and 48 women are sexually assaulted every hour. And then the third place that I would like to direct y'all's attention to is Sudan, all right? They have been in the midst of a war between 2 generals that are fighting for power, all right? And the people are caught in between. And because of this infighting between these 2 generals, almost 4 million people have been forced to leave their homes in order to leave the violence. Okay, because they've been essentially told, stay in your houses or else you're gonna get bombed or shot at. So with this being said, those links will always be there. They will be in my future videos, okay? Because these are atrocities being committed, and because of social media, in plain sight. And it is absolutely horrifying that people in government positions, high up power positions, are watching these things go by as if nothing's happening. Okay, so those links will be there. I hope that you talk about them, interact with them, share them, all right? Just one of the things that we can do that helps is just to talk about it, all right? Not let it quiet down, not let these people go quietly into the night, all right? So with that being said, and those links being there, I hope that you enjoy the video. Hey guys, it's Emma, and I'm back today for you with another video. And today we are doing another installation in my loosely based series of basically spooky videos that I try to put out once every year. These are all books that when I had the book open, okay, in my hands, I just felt an overwhelming sense of dread, despair, hopelessness, sadness. I hope that you look at those links, that you go down in the comments, tell me whether or not you guys felt the same about any of these books, whether you have other dreadful book recommendations. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first book that I just felt an overwhelming sense of hopelessness with was The Child Thief by Gerald Brom. This is a twisted, a dark, all right, Peter Pan retelling. This is about Nick, who goes with Peter Pan to Avalon, and he discovers that Peter Pan has been essentially taking children from our dimension, our plane, our world, and bringing them to Avalon in order to fight these monsters. And basically, you know, Nick has to adapt to this new and horrifying world. This book is brutal. Check the trigger warnings for this book. I'm not joking around, all right? This book is brutal, it's barbaric, it's dark. There's a lot of twisted and horrible shit that happens in this book, okay? And I feel like it is just compounded more so by the fact that all of the characters in here are children, okay? Because only kids can come into this world. The fact that these are children just emphasizes the hopelessness that you feel and the helplessness, because what are these children supposed to do? Charlie wanted to say hi. So, if you like dark fairy tale retellings and are a fan of dark, tragic, sometimes disturbing books, definitely go for The Child Thief. Okay, so we're just gonna have a little guest star here for a minute, okay? So, the next book that I want to recommend to you guys that was absolutely dreadful was House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski, okay? I'm just gonna set this up right here. This book right here, this little book right here, this little piece of work, okay? Right, I know. To keep it short and simple, because there is almost no way that I can give a synopsis of this book without completely spoiling it, it is basically about this family that moves into a house that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Look, this book is a nightmare and a half. Because first of all, the way that this book is written, it's supposed to elicit like agoraphobia and claustrophobia and everything like that. This book is written in a way to make you terrified, to make you dread what exactly is gonna happen next. I would say that if you liked Monster House and you are just really a fan of incredibly trippy books, all right, definitely go for House of Leaves, okay? There's just, the atmosphere of this book is absolutely suffocating. Okay, so the next book that absolutely filled me with some dread is Our Share of Night. This book is probably one of the most tragic books I've read all year. This book is essentially about a son and a father who have lost the mother and wife of the family, and the mother's family, so the son's maternal side of the family run a cult. And they are obsessed with gaining immortality, and the father is a medium who works for the cult, and the cult is essentially using him to try and gain the knowledge for immortality, and they believe that the son will inherit his dad's power, and so they're like, okay, well, let's just use the son, you know, since he's a kid, and the dad is like, no. So it's basically all about this father and son trying to run from this cult that is essentially ingrained in almost every aspect of their life. When I was reading this book, I had such a cloud of just dread over me. Okay, this book makes you feel hopeless, helpless, like there is no way to turn, because like I said, this cult is embedded in almost every aspect of Argentinian life. Okay, they have members all over the country. There is almost nowhere to run, all right? Not to mention, this is supernatural as shit. So apart from having to deal with regular people coming after you, you also have to deal with demons, summonings, sacrifices, torture, kidnapping, murder, everything of the sort, okay? This book, like The Child Thief, is very dark, all right? There is some horrifying shit that happens in this book, and I feel like since this takes place in and around the Argentinian coup, you know, it's so steeped in real life that it also feels helpless, because it's like, this is exactly what some people face in real life. You know what I mean? Like, this book is the epitome of what evil, money, and power can do when they all mix with one another, and just the atrocities that they can birth. So not only did this book make me feel sick to my stomach, okay, with just how subtle and monotone everything was, so you have to sit with everything, okay, this also was just so tragic. I would say that if you were a fan of cult books, especially, okay, this would be an amazing addition to your collection, Bebs. So the next book that made me feel sick to my stomach was Tender as the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. Okay, this is set in the future, and essentially cannibalism has been legalized. So you can chomp on your neighbors. Overpopulation is the thing, so they were like, cannibalism. Word, number one solution, what do you know? And so we follow a manager for one of the processing and like breeding plants. His name is Marcos. And we just follow everything that happens with him, and especially when he gets a promotion, because then he is given a human female. This book for me was just horrifying on every single level, okay, because first of all, I listened to this on audiobook, okay? I would say that if you are looking for the full experience of this book, listen to it on audio, all right? The narrator for this does a killer job, all right, especially with the sound effects. And girl, ugh. Also, there's just like a twist of language in here to add that level of horrifying. For example, there are humans that are designated to be eaten, okay, like heads of cattle, all right? And similarly, like heads of cattle, these humans are not called humans. They are called heads. Heads of cattle, heads of human, heads of livestock, right? To further distance you from the fact that, oh yeah, these are people, but we're not going to humanize them by calling them humans. So we're going to call them heads of cattle. to make it that much easier to eat them. Another thing to further dehumanize them in order to make it easier to eat them, these heads have their vocal cords taken out because nobody likes to eat meat when it screams. Sit with that. I don't know, it was dark, it was dreary, it was disturbing, it was horrifying. The ending is gonna land you on your ass. Let me tell you that right now, okay? At least it did for me. I remember when I finished that book, I couldn't form a coherent sentence for 5 minutes. So if you are into like disturbing books, definitely go for Tender as the Flesh, okay? Because this was something that I will never forget. And it is definitely something that my anxiety will never forget. So the last book that I have as a recommendation for you guys is Johnny Got His Gun by Dalton Trumbo, okay? This is set during World War I, when we follow Joe, who is conscripted. Yeah? What do you see? He sees a dog. Johnny Got His Gun is about this boy named Joe who is conscripted into World War I. And when he is conscripted, he gets blown up by an artillery shell, and his arms are amputated, his legs are amputated, and there's a cavity where his face would be. It's all about him reminiscing about how exactly he got here and his horrors of him being reminded of how he got here, and also him basically thinking about the horrors of war. Just like with Tender as the Flesh, I would say to listen to this on audiobook to get the full experience of it. This book is tough to listen to. It is very tough to listen to, okay? The narrator in this one as well does a phenomenal job. There was a point in here where I had to shut the audiobook off and take a break, and I just broke down. It is gut-wrenching the way that Joe's pain and Joe's memories are coming back to him, all one right after the other. This book, from an audiobook perspective, is such a sensory overload, okay? Because not only do you have the horrific reality of what has happened to Joe affronting him, but you also have his memories of how he lost all of his limbs and him coming back in and out of consciousness while they're amputating his limbs is just is affronting him as well. And then you also have all the war propaganda trying to entice and seduce and convince all of these young boys to enlist. All right, the whole thing is just a ball of nervous and anxious energy, which I know is not going to be a cup of tea for some people, which completely understand. But seeing as how it was, I want to say, on the forefront of anti-war literature, considering the time it came out, it is definitely a story that has a foothold in our life now, and therefore I think it is it's a very important read. So you guys, those were recommendations for books that just filled me with a sense of phenomenal dread. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you will take these recommendations. I also hope that you will look down in the description box for all those links, like I said in the beginning. I hope that you will continue to look out for more stuff on my channel. I hope that you guys are having a good rest of your day. Goodbye.